All right. So what I wanted to do was to do a bit of a catch up because I haven't done a video in quite some time. 13, I think, was the last version that I did an update on. So I wanted to walk through all of the enhancements in 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. There weren't actually any enhancements in 19, so we won't need to spend any time on that. There was just a few bug fixes. So I'm just going to go through them one at a time like I usually do so you can get a feeling for what they're about. So let's start with the candle effect. The candle effect's been around for a handful of releases, but now there's a new option. Sorry, I have to find my matrix. There it is. So if we grab the candle effect and we bring the candle effect down on my matrix, you can see that my matrix acts like a single candle with all the pixels. And there is now this per node option, which basically causes every pixel on the matrix to act like it's an independent candle and flicker in its own speed. So that's useful if you've defined, if you've created maybe a single strand model and each one of those nodes on that strand sits inside, I don't know, a pumpkin at Halloween, and you want them to all flicker and you want to sequence them using just one effect or one group. This makes that really easy to do. So that was that one. Add select unused used models to display elements. Add select used unused models to display elements list. What that means is in the edit display elements here, which has all been enhanced a few releases back. There's actually a right click menu that sits behind here. And I can, for instance, select all the used models. And if I scroll down here, the only model I've used is the matrix. And what do you know? That's the only model that it's selected. And if I do select unused in my sequence, it'll select everything but the matrix. And of course, I can then drag it all across and just leave behind the matrix. So just a very quick and easy way to select things based on what's going on. Let's bring that all across. Now let's sort it back by name, but groups at the top. All right. So that's what that one does. It's just a really quick way to select things when you're trying to add things in and out. I'd allow bulk uploading of sequences to all known FPP instances. So for some time now, we've had the FPP Connect. This is not going to work very well because I actually don't have a PyPlayer running. Historically, you would type in your IP address and we would remember it. What this allows you to do now is you can connect to each of your FPPs one at a time, and each time you connect to your FPP, it will remember it and keep a list of all the FPPs you've ever connected to here in the list. And then if you select just these sequence files down here, and you have at least one of your IP addresses up here, as well as being able to upload to this particular controller. If you clicked on upload to all, it would actually go through all of the IP addresses in here, i.e. all of your FPPs, and it would go through and upload those sequences to all of them. So if you're running a bunch of slaves and a master, this will enable you to upload in one click to all of your falcons, both the masters and all of the slaves, all in one click, rather than having to go and upload them one at a time or upload it to the master and then wait the 6 weeks that it takes to replicate any decent sized sequence file between the masters and all the slaves. So just something to save you a little bit of time when you're configuring your falcons. Particularly when it's 7 p.m. On an evening in December and you're desperately trying to get a sequence up to date and distribute it out to all your falcons. If you connect to a falcon which you then remove or don't need anymore, you can click on the forget button here and it will take it out of the list. The other thing is when this thing comes up, it will actually go out and ping all of the controllers, and so any controllers that actually aren't visible at that point in time, it won't attempt to upload to. In fact, they won't even be available. So that's what that is. Allow entering of description. Oh, okay, so that was a suggestion I think that came in one of our conversations. In the FPP Connect dialog, as well as having the IP address and the username and password, you now can actually document the description. So you can describe what this is. This is actually my router's IP address, which obviously wouldn't accept an upload, but I use it because it's always there and I can always test that it exists. But you can put in a description for each of your Pi players, so you know which one you're actually uploading to. And add additional colors to the color manager. Okay, so this was what Gil was doing. So Gil's been created a little while ago, this color manager, and the color manager lets you go and choose the various colors that xLights uses for various things. So when you add a timing, the first one's always blue, the next one's red and green, magenta and yellow, but you can go in here and click on these and change those colors and customize an awful lot of the colors that xLights uses. Which of course is great until someone says, oh, click on the check overlap channels and anything that's red's a problem, which is all well and good until you change it to blue. And now you're as confused as ever. But anyway, it's an option. xSchedule, adding some documentation. So I was struggling with this and I've never got round to writing. Whoa, sorry, it started playing in my ear. I didn't get around to documenting a lot of the scheduler, and our manual's a long way behind, and I was having problems like many others. We'll add an advanced playlist, there we go. And we'll add a text step. And so when it came to things like the format here, where you can put in particular special text strings that mean certain things, I've now put all of those sorts of things in tooltips so that the documentation around what the available variables are that you can use to refer to the current time or the text field, etc., are all easily available and documented, so you don't have to go hunting around for manuals when you want to go in and configure those advanced settings. Enhancing the wiring view. All right, so this has to do with custom models. So here's a custom model. Come on. Where are we? I think it's called a face. There we are. Face, right, there we go. So when you go in and you look at the model data, there's this wiring view, and this has been available for some time. You can go in here and you can see exactly where every node's expected to be and how they're all connected together and everything. And some people probably didn't know, but you can right-click and export it, and that'll export it to an image file, and then you can use your favorite photo printing software to print it. The problem is, of course, it's a black background and that kind of sucks. So now you can change it to a light background, which will obviously be a lot easier to print. And you can also play with the font size. So you can steadily lift it up. So for those of you that are hard of seeing and maybe don't have a model that's quite as dense here, you can do that to make it easier to print and see. So that's what that's all about. Adding the E6804 controller configuration support. For some time now, it's been possible to right-click here and upload to controllers. There's two things that you can upload: the input definition, which is typically the universes that the controller is going to listen to, and the output, which is typically exactly which channels to output to which physical connection onto the controller. And progressively over time, I've been adding additional controllers as I've had access to them, and several people have either sent controllers to me or have lent them to me for a period of time, and I've managed to include them. The 6804, Gil generously donated me one when I was in Vegas earlier this year, and so there is now the ability to upload to the E6804. When .20 comes out, hopefully within the next week, this will also support the E682 as well. The Falcon's been there for some time. When 20 comes out, there's additional enhancements in the Falcon upload where now it handles the serial port connections properly as well, so you can upload your DMX for your LAW dongles and things like that successfully now as well. And on the output, there's an equivalent. The other one that's appeared, which is I think a little later in the release notes, is the J1 I happened to win one of those as a door prize at the Sydney Mini. And so I've attempted to, it actually does the P2. I wouldn't make any promises that it would do a P12 or something, but it kind of works okay for the P2. It's not perfect. It's a very difficult board to build integration for, but it kind of works. So that's that one. Add model state to the DMX model. So I'm not going to go into this one. There was a video I made not that long ago where I kind of walked through all of that. As ever, all my videos are on videos.xlights.org. They're also on my, my YouTube channel. But there was a video I made here, this DMX model and the state effect. And if you go and watch that video, it will show you how to use the state effect to control things like moving lights and do things like set a particular focus point and make it easy to sequence to get the moving headlights to focus on that particular point, or to set the gobos in a spot, or all of those sorts of things. I go through all of that in the video. Add auto mapping for xLights LAW Vixen import. Okay, so this is actually really useful sometimes. So many of you have used before the the import effects. And so what I'll do here is I'm actually going to cheat, and I'm going to import one of my own sequences because this will really easily demonstrate it. So what I've done is I've added this auto map function down here. And when you're importing someone else's sequence, it's probably not going to do a great job. But what it will do is it will go through all of my model names, and it will go through all of the source model names, and anywhere where they match, it's going to map them automatically. So if you're using this method, and some people do use this method to bring their sequences forward from previous years, etc., your mapping just became single click. Now, if you're bringing in someone else's sequence, look, it's not going to match perfectly, but who knows? Your arches might map, your stars might map, lots of people call things very similar names. And I don't know, maybe people should go out there and start to standardize their names to make mapping even easier. But yeah, it just seemed to me that that was really easy to do and would occasionally help. In fact, I was watching a video the other night that Ron had put together, and I was screaming at the screen saying, just click auto map. Not all of his models were going to match, but some of them definitely would have. So that's auto map. Submodel generation options. So a few releases back, I introduced submodel generation. Something very strange going on here. For some reason, it's not letting me click. I don't know why. It doesn't matter. So we had an arch tree here somewhere. Arch tree, there we are. So in the submodel dialog, everyone's familiar with creating them manually, and I added the generate button a few releases back. And there's things like vertical slices and horizontal slices, which were all well and good, and everyone liked those. Now I've added some additional ones which will do segments. So for instance, if I want to break my tree into the Brady Bunch intro, I can set it to be 3 high and 3 wide. Click OK. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong one. Sorry, did that wrong. It's vertical slices. Segments 3 high. No, that didn't work. Oh, let's make it 3 wide. 3 wide. Okay. Oh, sorry, I know what I'm doing wrong. Okay. Um, so segments 3 high, 3 wide, it doesn't really matter, but I actually want 9 segments, not just 3 by 3. Just put these in front of it. And so you can see it's actually broken it up into segments, and there'll be 9 of them, and I'll start down in the bottom left and move across and so forth. So you can now do either 2 wide or 3 wide or 3 high, and as many elements as you want. So it makes it very easy to create even more submodels. But yeah, don't forget that the number you type in is the total number that you want. Show models already used in the mapping dialog. I don't know if you noticed that, but when we did the import, whoops, that's not going to work. Sorry, that wasn't actually an xLights XML file. What are the chances I was going to do that? So when I did the Automap, you can see that a whole bunch of these models have gone grey. And the reason they've gone grey is because they have been mapped somewhere over here on the left. And that makes it very easy to see which ones I haven't actually used yet. And remember, they only appear on the right here because they actually happen to have an effect on them. So I probably do want to map them. These here don't map because I actually changed the names of those models. So I probably want to go and map those now. When they're grey, you can still drag them across. It doesn't prevent you from mapping a model to multiple elements. That's always been possible. The greyness is just showing you that, hey, that model's already been used and maybe you don't need to use it again. So it makes it much easier to keep track of what you have and haven't mapped. Get the J1 sys controller working, yes. The xLight 4, so previously I had the xLight 16 long range working. Fing lent me his xLight 4 and that now works as well. And the bars effect, add new directions and a value curve to the center point to allow precise motions. And Gil made a video on this as well. In fact, it's this video here, although it says I uploaded it. It's actually a video that Gil made, which talks about that particular change and how it works and lets you control the bars effect much more precisely. Oh, okay. So the next one here. So I've only got one preview here. I think, oh, yeah. Yeah, I've only got the one preview. So let's create a new preview. And then in the sequencer, when I bring up the house view, you can now switch the preview just by clicking, right-clicking on this and change the preview. So that's what that's all about. Freeform selection, if selected timing track has no timing marks. So let's go and quickly create another sequence. So it used to be that if you had some effects down here and you wanted to select it, you couldn't select it because this timing track was selected. And you had to deselect the timing track before you could go in here and drag it to get the yellow check marks. And Gil made it so that even when it's selected, you can still do this. But once you've created a timing set of timing marks like that, it's no longer possible because now you're in cell selection mode, so you can't do yellow selection. But if I delete that timing mark, I can come back and I can select it again without worrying about it. And that helps because it used to be that you'd open a new sequence, you wouldn't have any timing marks, and you'd go to click and drag and nothing would work and it would get frustrating. So Gil changed that. Update the Vixen import to try and find the profile file. So Gil did some work on the Vixen import. I think someone was having some troubles with it. I don't have any demo files that I can demo this with, but I believe it helped make that import a little bit easier. It's not an enhancement, that's a bug fix. Splitters. So I added a couple of splitters. People were complaining about the size of, I think it was this list here. And so now there's actually a splitter just here. And so you can now resize this across to control how big each side of this is. And you can do a similar thing on the import effects dialog. Here, this is a splitter as well, so you can slide it. Well, it has to be a little bit bigger. But yeah, you can slide this across and make it bigger or smaller or whatever. Add a show all effects row header, right click. Okay. All right. So if you're sequencing and you're one of these people that likes to sequence at lower levels, like down at the strand level here. Oh, we won't do the liquid because the liquid's heavy. We'll throw a fire in on the strand. And maybe we'll go a bit lower. And we'll go down to the node level here and we'll put an on effect on the node. Right, and then if I close all these things up, it can be quite hard to find those effects again. The only easy way to do it previously was to actually go to the tools menu and do export effects, and then go and look inside the spreadsheet to try and find them, which was kind of difficult to do. But now you can right click here and you can say show all effects. And what it will do is it will go down and find those models that have effects embedded in strands or in layers, and it will expand them for you. So that particular effect is now visible. So it guarantees that somewhere here, every effect in the sequence is going to be visible and therefore findable. And that's all that does. And that brings us up to 19. So yeah, a bunch of reasonably small enhancements, some little things to improve usability, and some incremental stuff. There are some big things coming. There are some enhancements that will be in 20 that will create some interesting new possibilities with submodels and the like, or sub-buffers, sorry, and the like. And hopefully that'll be out within the week. So a quick look in chat here and see if there's any questions. How's the reverse button going? I don't remember what that was, Oz.
Now that's what we were talking about the other day. The show effect, when you click that and it expands them all out,
yep.
Then if you then want to close everything back up, you've got to go and tap, 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 tap. So is there any way you could implement a...
That's in 20.
Opposite? Oh,
I think I wrote it. I think I've already written it.
Yeah, you said you were going to
actually,
think about it.
it'll be in the list. So many things. Oh, there it is. Collapse all function to the row heading right click menu. There it is. It's there. It's done. All right. I'll upload the video. Thanks, guys.